In my last haul video, I showed that I picked up this Alpha Probe vehicle, and it was pretty much missing everything, although it does have the doors, it does have the back thrusters, and it has the battery cover on the back. And the inside of the battery compartment is actually in pretty good shape. If I can get this thing open, there's no corrosion or anything on there. Now, a little bit of fuzz, but other than that, it looks pretty good. Now, I haven't put batteries in it yet, so I don't know if it works, and we'll do that in this video. But in that video, I did say that I have to find the shuttle that goes inside and hopefully the figure, and it also has a cable that holds the figure in space. Right after that video, I went on Marketplace and found pretty much all the parts I need locally to complete this Alpha Probe. So we're going to open this box, see what I got, and we're going to do a restoration on this vehicle. Stay tuned, let's get into it. Alright, I put a sticker over the address there so you can't see it, but let's open this up and see what I got. So we have another thruster. It's kind of yellowed, and mine that came with the Alpha Probe is actually in better condition. It actually is missing a tab here, so this will go in just my parts bin, but I don't really need that. We also have the little pod that goes inside, and we have a figure in there. I like the fact that it has the sticker still on there because I am planning on making more stickers, and that's just one I don't have to make. Now this probe came with two figures. It came with a female astronaut and a male astronaut, and here is the male astronaut, so that is great. I do have some other astronaut figures. They're the alien astronaut figures, but well, this is good enough for this. I can always put the aliens along with this probe too on display. And I think this is called a tether. So we have the tether here, and that is amazing. This is going to help me do pretty much everything I want to do to restore this vehicle. I also got some batteries, so let's put some batteries in this Alpha Probe here, and we'll see if this thing works. Also, looking at the markings on the bottom here, we can see that it says 1979 Fisher-Price Toys, division of the Quaker Oats Company, made in the USA, patent pending. So that's cool that it has that on the bottom. Okay, let's test to see if this works. It would be fantastic if it does, but we have some bolts here on the bottom that will enable me to open it up and find out what's wrong with it. But let's just see how this sounds. I don't even know what it sounds like. It's nice that it does have the three wheels on the bottom too. Okay, so I think I press this button. And the light works too. That is great. I was wondering about that. Now, I'm not sure if the light is supposed to work when you hit all three of these or just this button here. So I'll do some more research and find out. But from the sounds of it and the looks of it, I think everything is working perfectly. So that is amazing. And on the side of the box, it says 3-button electronic control panel, which we just tried, 2 flashing lights, 2 flashing lights. Oh, there's a flashing light on the other side too. Let's make sure that works. Yep. So the second flashing light works too. Opening bay doors, which we tried those already. Detachable booster rockets. Movable cockpit seat. Alpha Recon Vehicle, 6-position life support tether, and 2 Astro Pilots. So I only have 1 Astro Pilot right now. I might have another one in my collection upstairs. I will check that here soon. And underneath these thrusters here, you can see there's like a vintage sticker. That's kind of cool. So I'm happy that this is working. It's awesome. I kind of wanted to open it up if it wasn't working to fix it, just to see what it looked like inside. And I might actually still do that. But this obviously is really, really dirty. The pod is actually in great shape. So we'll leave that aside. I'm not going to worry about trying to clean that. But I do want to clean this. I got to take all the stickers off. I'm going to save this sticker, and I have to replace the other sticker on the wing and the sticker on the front nose. So we have to do that. But this is really, really dirty. So I'm going to remove the stickers. I'm actually going to clean the whole thing. I'm not really sure. I might actually take it apart. And if it's easy to get apart, it might be nice to just clean this without the electronics. Not only am I going to wash this with soap and water, but I'm going to use Plastex and go along the whole outside of it and try to not only clean it, but get rid of any of the scratches. Maybe we can get rid of some of this yellow in the plastic. Just before this, I started using a Bluetooth microphone, a new one that I had. I was going to use it for live streams and stuff, which I haven't really got into yet, but I thought I would try it for this video, and I found that the audio quality was not as good as my microphone that I usually use. So I'm going back to this microphone. I just want to comment on the rubber on this. It is, or it was, really, really dirty. I thought this nose was completely scuffed up, really, really bad, and I got it really, really white. I was just taking the stickiness off from the old stickers, and I think this thing was at one time covered with probably those alphabet stickers, and there's sticky stuff all over this. So I thought I would just take my Zippo lighter fluid and just find all of the stickiness here and just remove it. But as I was doing that, if you look at the back wing here, you'll notice that if you just use that lighter fluid on that, not only does it replenish the rubber, but in a couple seconds it cleans it right off. Almost makes it look brand new. I've never used lighter fluid on rubber before. It's just a kind of a happy accident. So I'm going to keep scrubbing this thing with lighter fluid, and then I'll get out a toothbrush and some soap and water. Okay, before I continue cleaning this, I found a way to get these out. They're not regular screws. They're really huge threaded bolts of some sort. I don't know what these are. And they're very difficult to get out. But what I found was this one here. This is a 7/32 ratchet, and you have to put that in there, and it doesn't come out right away at first. But if you push really hard, now it won't work. See if I can get it. I'm going to get this apart because I really think it would clean really well once it is apart. So you got to push that in there really good. You can see how fast that comes out because of how big those threads are. So I'm going to continue on. There's an example of me getting it out. And it's not easy, but it's possible. So I'm going to get all these out, and we'll continue cleaning this thing. All right, I'm going to keep that socket handy because I have to put these back in. Just put them over here in that little plastic case there. Let's open this up and see what we have. That's what it looks like. I got the bottom half. I can clean that nice. Now, this part here is the part that's really dirty. And I know it's clipped into the speaker in the back, so let's see what we got here. Oh, that's all one piece. That's perfect. That's what I wanted to take out. Here's what the electronics looks like in there. Not much going on. Capacitor, a bunch of resistors, diode, transistors. That looks like a ceramic resistor. Speaker, couple wires, LED. So not much to that. Just the sounds. And then we have our wheels here. We don't want to lose those. 3 of them. Then we can take this out, I think. Oh, that all comes out like that. This is like on top of that. That comes out, so we can get all that nice and clean. I'm really happy I got that out. I wasn't contemplating not doing it, and now I'm happy I got that out. Here's the LED light covers. You can't get the doors out unless you have it apart, so we'll get those doors out somehow. If they do come out, see if we can get these doors out. There we go. Now it's completely apart, and I can really give this thing a good cleaning without worrying about ruining the electronics. So I cleaned the Alpha Probe, and I'm going to let that dry for a while. But I took 2 days to learn how to use GIMP. GIMP is a really powerful free photo editing software. I wouldn't say it's like Adobe Photoshop. It's just not as intuitive as Photoshop is. So first of all, after I took the sticker off of the left wing, I flipped the image, and then I just made it black, and then I cropped the top off because on the right wing there is some buttons there, so we have to make sure we have room for those. I added some mauve lettering and some detail that I found on the internet, and then I just zoomed in and fixed some of the pixels, pixel at a time, just to smooth everything out, and this is what I got. I think it turned out really good. And then I also went and used a picture from eBay for the front sticker and cleaned that up as much as I could. I have a lot more learning to be able to use this software to its potential, but I think we've got something for now that will just fill in the gaps until I can make some better stickers. So before I put those stickers on, I would like to take the outer shell and this and clean it with Plastex and see if it will take some of that yellow away. I've never tried that before, but I'd like to try it. I'm going to repair this gold anyway on the Alpha Probe, so it doesn't matter if that gets taken off. I'm going to be using this gold chrome metallic. It's not really chrome, but it will look pretty similar to what they used on here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to get some Plastex. I'm just going to do the outer shell and the doors. Everything else is in pretty good condition. Even the white is actually in really good condition, but I just want to see if I can get it just a little bit shinier. There's no doubt that that Plastex is making a difference. So here's our alpha probe all clean and ready to go. We've got the alpha probe on the doors painted gold. It's pretty good. It's not quite that chrome gold that was originally on this, but it turned out really well. We've got the new stickers that I made, including the original sticker, and we've cleaned everything up. It looks really good. There's 3 cleaning processes we've done: soap and water, letter fluid, and then Plastex to shine everything up. You can see how that looks on the top here. I did the bottom 2 and the doors. They cleaned up really well. I can't say that it took any of the yellow out of the plastic, but it took a lot of the surface dirt that the soap and water couldn't get and makes it look whiter anyway. So, and it's pretty white considering how old this toy is. I will say one thing about this before we put it together is that this thing is made with really thick, durable plastic. I can see why these things last forever. None of it's that broken very often. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is put on our doors. We have to do that first, and you have to make sure you put the right door in the right spot. So this door is there, so I'm going to take this one and put it in first. Like that, and then we'll put the other one in the same way. Just like that. It helps to have it like this, and then the second hinge will go in there. The next thing we have to put in is the back wing, and this turned out really nice. It was super dirty and it looked like it was not cleanable at all, but it turned out really good. So before I break something, let's put that in this little slot right here. You can see it in the bottom there. The next thing we have to put in is the orange part here that has the sliding seat. We have to put the sliding seat in first. You can see the tab here that keys in to the bottom here, and I'm just going to slide that up like that so that when I turn it upside down, the seat doesn't fall out. So you just turn that upside down like that. Put that in. These 4 posts tab into the orange piece. Now you could put the tires on or the wheels on next, but I'm going to do the electronics first. Before we do the electronics, we have to put this in. This is where the speaker fits in. So you want to make sure that the raised edges are on in this configuration, and that this flat part here goes in the back like that. It just fits in there nicely like that. And then we can put in, I'm going to put the buttons in next. Doesn't matter which orientation, they're exactly the same this way or that way. We're going to put the LED covers in. They're little red ones. They just fit into those slots there. Then I'm going to put in the electronics. Now the speaker goes down into that hole, and the LEDs go into these red covers there. So just make sure that that is in there flat like that. And then the battery wires fits into that slot there, and we can just put the battery in like that. The next thing I'm going to put in is the nose. This is also rubber. It was cleaned up really nicely. You can see that. We're going to turn that upside down like that, and it fits in there like that. And the last things we have to put on this before we put the bottom on is our 3 wheels. They all seem to be exactly the same. And then now we can put the bottom of this on. Just want to make sure that that is all together like that. And then the next thing we need to do, which I think is going to be the trickiest part, is getting these things in. And what I noticed is when I took them out, it not only screws into the top, but when you screw them into the bottom, it also screws into the plastic. And what you have to do is, as you're putting these back in, you need to hold the parts together like this so that these, when it screws in, it doesn't open up the two halves, and then when you're done screwing it in, you have a space here. So I'm going to hold that in like that. Now hold that together and then just screw that in. Let's test the electronics first, make sure it works. And it does. Awesome. Okay, the next thing I want to do is get these stickers on. Here's the one that I made. It's nice and glossy. Not quite as glossy as the original one. I could probably put some varnish over this or some lacquer or something, but I'm not going to do that. I need to stick this back on, and a couple things we can do. I usually use a glue stick, but I found that in some cases it doesn't really hold very well. It might be the glue stick that I have. I've actually used 2 or 3 different ones. Some work better than others. But what I want to do with this, and I'm going to use a really, really thin double-sided tape. And there we go. It's all complete and restored. Now in the future, I'm going to remake these stickers, the ones that I made before. They don't have a lacquer on them, and I want them to be a little shinier. And I also want the lacquer to protect the ink that's on this glossy white paper. If you put your hand across that, that'll just pull the ink right off your finger, which happened to me over here when I touched it when I was putting the screws back in. And so I'm going to redo these stickers probably on a better laser printer. I don't have a colored laser printer, but I'm going to actually invest in one for my stickers. And since I'm doing a little bit of digital artwork and stuff like that on that GIMP program, I think it's worth upgrading my printer. My old printer, it's probably about 5 or 6 years old, and it's just not printing like it used to. I've cleaned it, I've done all kinds of stuff, new cartridges, all kinds of stuff, and it's just not printing out very well. So now let's explore this vehicle. First of all, we want to take a look at the tether. There's a lot of ways you can use this. You can open this up. There is a spot in here where the seat comes back. Plug it in there and put the astronaut in 3 different positions on the tether like that. We can also take this tether and put it on top of the Alpha probe, and again connect him to the probe in 3 different directions. You can also take the tether and connect it in a couple different ways on here too, if you want to do that like that. It's not really practical, but you can do it. You can also connect the pod that we have to the tether like this. The tether can also be connected to the pod like that, and maybe even have an astronaut tethered to the pod. The pod can also fit inside of the probe. If you push that forward, you can put that like that. We can also put a astronaut in the seat. So I have an alien astronaut kind of guy, so we can put him in the front seat like this. Push that forward. Put our astronaut in the pod like this. Which is how he came in the mail. And we can put that in there like that, and then close the doors. And then one more thing about the pod is that we can connect these thrusters. We can pull it off the back and connect it to here. But I have another thruster here. And like I said, I have another one that's not yellow, but this is the one that came in the mail with the pod. And we can connect it like that. So he's got wings. Or you can connect it like this, which is really cool. I like that look actually quite a bit. And this is how I'm going to put the Alpha probe on display with my figures, and I'm going to take my female alien here and I'll put her on display here behind it, something like that, and I'll put it on my shelf, and I think it's going to look amazing. Thanks for watching this episode of Toysbackzen. It was really satisfying to do this repair. Adventure People is definitely the first action figure toy line that I played with as a child, probably 4 years old. It was really nice to do this. This is probably one of my last Adventure People vehicles that I'm going to put in my collection, other than there's another orange space vehicle that I had as a kid. But I have everything else that I had as a child, and this is not one that I had as a child, but I really wanted to put this into the collection since I only got it for about $15, and it was $25 for all the parts that I purchased. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next episode.